Right, so yes, we are back in the Wicks kitchen, and today we're going to put the flooring in, protect it, decor panels, worktops, potentially in, probably not completely finished, it all depends how the day goes, but if we can get them in, get them finished, even better than tomorrow. We can do all the plumbing, plinths, throw the doors on, protect it, ready for the weekend. Then the plasterer will come in and do his bit of plastering around here, all the way around, so this will all get replastered. And then obviously round and in to that corner. So that's what the plaster is doing. But we're going to lay the floor because otherwise I'm going to get held up. But anyway, let's get stuck in. We'll see you shortly. So we're just laying the flooring out just to get an idea of how it's going to flow. And I've got some tips for you. So rather than using a tape measure and confusing yourself, good way of doing it is what I do. Basically, I'm laying it out. I'm going to come off the feet because then the plinth will sit on top of that lovely, and then we've got a decent cut that side, so it won't look too out of place with the plinth on. It'll look like a cut either side, and then it will sail in nicely where our fridge, oven and washing machine go. But when you've got to dealing with a room that's an L shape like this, good little tip for you. These planks are the same length as, so if you laid that plank across there, it'd be the exact same length, even amount of planks, if you know what I mean. So when you want to work out how your cuts are going to work out that way, you can just overlap it like that, and that's your cut. So now you know exactly you're going to have that much of a cut, which is perfect. So it just works out absolutely brilliantly when you're doing this sort of thing, rather than trying to put bits in there to try and see how it goes. Just lay one that way, because that is the equivalent of the planks laid the other direction. So just a little tip for you when you're laying out, that will work really well. Or you could just do that and sew it up, and again that's your cut. So you know exactly what you're dealing with. So I know my cut's going to be roughly the same sort of cut as that, so that's perfect really. So basically now I know that, I can just start throwing this floor down now. Just really simple stuff. It's got its own built-in underlay. It's click-clock. You just lock them in, give it a tap on the little joints there, and it all clicks in. So now that I've done that, I can now multi-tool out that little bit of architrave, cut one of these boards roughly in half, sail it under the architrave, and then just do our second line and just keep working on it like that. Really simple, this stuff, guys. I'll try and give you some more how-to videos as I'm going.
You need the big track.
So let's get stuck in. So the main tools you're going to need for this sort of a job, really simple: sharp Stanley, a set square and a rubber mallet. Multi-tool is handy if you've got one, just for cutting out bottoms of the architrave so you can sail under and get a nice finish. But they're your basic tools. So my first job is going to be, I'm going to cut a plank in half so that I can put a cut there, and then the off cut will effectively do that end, and then we just keep working along. Do whatever cut you do here, you use the other side at that end, and so on and so forth until we get to this point, and then we'll have to do the scribes. So let's get stuck in. It's literally straight edge, score and snap. Really straightforward. I've already scored it. Now all I've got to do is give it a little bend and it will snap straight off. It's that simple for cutting these, guys. See, my next piece that's going to go here, it's got a sail underneath this architrave. So you can use a handsaw on its side. Preferred tool for it really is a multi-tool. You're going to put a board upside down, rest your blade on flat, and then just cut away. Just going to move it over a tad. And that's as simple as that. Now because I've latexed this floor, I'm going to have to do the bottom. Just like that. And then just pop out your off-cut bits like so. Get a hoover in there, hoover that out. And just like that, that will sail under. And then my next one, we can trim it a little bit more. And I'm going to tuck it just underneath there as well if I can. Probably going to have to replace that threshold strip, but we'll worry about that later on. So got our first cut in, now we can do a full length, and then we can do another cut and a full length, and then we can start throwing it all in. It's quite straightforward. All we've done is that we've got a cut, we've put it up to roughly where it is, we've marked where the threshold goes in, and all I've done is cut like a little, just a very small section out like so. We've cut this one, that's the joint, so we've cut it longer. We want it over 100mm on every joint. You don't want the joints too close together because that can cause you issues. So minimum over 10 centimeters, 100mm. I prefer to go a bit more than that. But once you've got it in, you should then slot, just bear with me, just like that. And I've tucked that underneath the threshold strip just for now. But that's absolutely perfect now. So now we can finish that row, bring this row in, and then that'll be all tied in then. And then just keep plodding along. And then obviously once we've done across here, up that line, we can then backfill inside these two areas. And then that decor panels can all go on, so on, so forth. This sort of vinyl flooring is quite easy to use. This one's the rigid. This one's what they call rigid. It doesn't have as much flexibility. I personally prefer the slightly more flexible one, but this is really good stuff in my opinion. Use it a lot, recommend it to most of my clients. Perfect for bathrooms and kitchens as well. That's a must because it's waterproof and it gives you a good water seal as well. Better than the lino, doesn't tear, because when you're pushing your appliances in and out, it will slide on this a lot easier than compared to lino. Obviously tiled is a different situation. But yeah, anyway, I rate this stuff. I'll see you shortly to get stuck back in. So when it comes to cutting something to length, really easy. You get your offcut, which in this case is this piece we cut from the other end. That's the edge you want to keep. Sorry, the edge you need to keep is there. So you put the edge you want to keep away from your cut, and all you're going to do is mark it, give it a couple of mil. It's not like laminate, well you need to give it 5-10mm expansion. This stuff needs minimal expansion. So we're going to cut that and that'll go straight in. So I've cut it, I've got it round the right way. All you're going to do is click it in, like so, get it in there like so. Make sure you close the gap up. And once she's in, get your mallet, just tap it, and you get a nice tight gap seal. That's it, that's all sealed up lovely. And that's just the same with every cut. Obviously when you've got to go around a corner, I'll do a different video on that. But yeah, that's that done. So we've got to do some scribes now, because we've done the main run. The main run is pretty much done. We've gone up around the feet, we've just gone under. I'm not going to worry about whether they are longer past, it doesn't matter, rather than doing epoxy little cuts. So this is what we've got to do now. So we've got to scribe this section in now. So how you do a scribe, I've already cut this one to length because this is a full length, so obviously we don't want a full length, and that's the next joint. So that's a good compromise. It's sort of in the middle of the two, so that's a good length. It will go that way a bit more because it's got to go under the threshold bar. So all we're going to do now is use an offcut like this, and all you're going to do is you're going to put this one dead on top of the one below. Make sure it's all nice and level, all so it's flush. And then you're just going to use a pencil and you're just going to mark. There's your pencil, you can use that as a guide using this edge, and you're going to go all the way along to the length of that using your pencil. And there's my pencil line now. And what I've also done, as my scribe bits hit the pipe, I've marked it, and then I've done the same that side, and then all we've got to do is something like that, a little mark there. So that now tells me that that's potentially what I've got to cut out to get around the pipe. It's only a rougher guide at the minute. So we use a straight edge now to cut that, or you can do it freehand if you're feeling confident. Now me personally, I like to use a full plank using this edge, which is closest to the floor, as my straight edge. So now I can run my knife down that, I can snap that, and if need be I can use my small hand plane just to take a little bit more off. We can test fit it, notch out for the pipe, and it should go straight in. So it took a little bit of time, a little bit of effort to try and get that in and get it around the pipe. But she's there, she's in. Just got to do the same thing now. We have another little issue around that bit of pipe, but we'll get around it some way or the other. But anyway, that's how you scribe. Get an offcut, cut the lips off both sides, and that effectively is your scribing tool. Keep hold of that and just keep going. So using the techniques I've just explained to you, you can literally do this entire floor without any issues at all. Just follow that little guide I've given you and you can throw this floor down in absolute no time at all. It's an absolutely brilliant system, completely watertight when it's finished, and as you can see, this is how quick you can throw it down. The floor is down. It took us, let's have a look, it took us 2 hours from 8 o'clock to tidy up, clean the floor, clear the kitchen floor area and lay this floor. It took us 2 hours. So that's how quick you can throw this stuff down. Now it's all finished, it's all in there. Ricky's now putting our black protection down. Obviously the oven's going to go in now. Not bothered about protecting that area. Don't need to protect that because we're going to be putting the washing machine back in there. So the next job we're going to do now, decor panel, decor panel, decor panel, decor panel on the end here. Figure out something with that fillet on there. Cut the decor panel ready to go in there. Probably going to fit them and then tape them up and protect the edges so that the plaster can just plaster to them. Otherwise it gives a better finish, I think. But we'll see how we get on. So that's the next job. Get on with the decor panels. Then we get the worktops cut, get them in. Happy days. Stay tuned. So next job is decor panels. So with the decor panels, you literally put it upside down, score the top, cut that, and then that's it cut to height. And then obviously you then got to scribe it to the back wall. I've done loads of videos on this, so check them out if you need to know how to do that. So we are getting there slowly. Like I say, the floor's done, it's all protected, and we've got a good bulk of decor panels on now. So that, and then Ricky's protected it with cardboard, and it's taped up so my plasterer can make good all of that, We've taped and protected both sides of that one. He's also put plinths on down there and plinth on down there. He's got that one cut, but obviously I've still got that decor and that filler to do. So yeah, he's protected with that, so I don't know how far down the plaster is going to go. The oven sits in there lovely. We've got just over enough space for the washing machine there with a little bit of play. So I've also put some braces in, which are, as you can see, pocket hole jigged and screwed. So that makes all that solid. Normally there's a filler cover panel here, but Wicks haven't supplied anything. But in this particular case, it makes it a bit easier for us to run the washing machine pipes in, plug into the plug, and then go straight to our feed and waste. So I'm actually going to leave it like that for now. This is all screwed to the wall, that's all screwed to the wall, so this is all solid, and then once the worktops go on, should be no issue. So with the worktop bolts, I've measured my jig, so I've got one that's back here, one there, and then the other one is just here for the bolts. So we should be fine getting the bolts in. I may have to just notch out a little bit, but I mean, worst case scenario, we can always take those out once the worktop's in and put some L brackets in. They're just there to hold that panel in place more than anything else. I did get a question today in regards to how I test the electrics. Now, I'll be totally honest, I went to college when I was a very young man, bearing in mind I'm now 50, and I went to college when I was 17. I'd done part 1 and part 2, full qualified. I didn't finish the final year because I ended up getting a job working for someone else. So back in the day, that was all I needed to do this sort of work. I could have shown them certificates of qualification, and I could have done this all day long. But then they changed the regs on me, and now you have to be Part P registered and all that malarkey. So I've got an electrician friend who knows my qualifications, knows my experience, knows that I'm more than capable of rewiring a ring main and a lighting circuit. So he's happy for me to do what I need to do, as long as I'm not touching the fuse board, because I don't go near fuse boards, same as I don't go near gas. So as long as I'm not touching the fuse board and I'm only extending an existing ring main, or I'm just moving a socket, he's happy to come out once I'm finished and just run around with his tester, do a Part P certificate if required. Sometimes the client doesn't want to pay the extra money to have that certificate done, because he charges about 200 quid to come and do a test, because he's got to travel here, do it and then go, and sometimes they don't want to pay for it. I advise them to get it done if they ever come to sell the house, and if they want it done and signed off, but obviously they don't always go for it. In this case, he is coming out. I've got it in my price for him to come out and do his Part P after I'm done. We've never had an issue in all the years I've been doing this. I do a basic test on it all originally. If there is a fault with it, then it's going to be a fault at the fuse board, and the fuse board here is quite new, so because it's a new metal one, so it is within regs, so there should be no issues. But anyway, that being said, I've just got a couple more decor panels to sort out. Got to jig this one a little bit to get a panel in there. We've got a little bit of plinth which will go in there absolutely perfectly, nearly. Just needs a slight nudge over, and it's almost just the right width, so that just needs cut into length. Probably need to take it wider actually, because I've got to allow for the plinth, so that won't work here. But we've got to do something at this edge as well, so we'll figure it out. That's our next job. Anyway, stay tuned guys, and we'll get stuck back in. See you shortly. So all the decor panels are now finished. It was fun and games, but we got there. So this one obviously straightforward, gone in just enough to get the plinth on, but this one we actually had to cut to the width and then plane the thickness down to make it go in, but that's finished that off nicely. We've cut the worktop there down to the right size. We've cut this one to length, but as you know, we've got to put a slight angle on this. So what I'm doing, using a set square, I'm going just beyond the decor panel, because I'm going to put a slight curve, slight round. I'm going to slightly round this in, and then we're going to take the veneer off to back here, and then we're going to try and do a straight connection now, and then as clean as we can, and then bend it round and re-veneer. So we're going to cut from that point to that point off at an angle, carefully, taking our time with it. Get my hand, lift it back out, and I'm going to leave it at that for today. And then going to get this one cut to rough length, and then tomorrow we will scribe that, mark out the sink, we'll do the edge banding on there. Hopefully we got the edge band will be on the right side for that one, if not we'll edge band that as well. We'll do the joint, and that's the worktop's finished. We can then plumb the sink in, get that connected, get the washing machine in, get that connected. They're not fussed about having the oven in, but it's all pretty much there. All the plinths are now in. So considering we only really started fitting the kitchen yesterday, it's actually looking like we're getting somewhere. So by the end of the day, potentially we can get all these doors on down here, get them all fitted as well. That'll be today or tomorrow. So yeah, it's taking shape. It's looking like we're getting somewhere. So just going to give Ricky a shout, lift this worktop out, get that edge cut, and then I'm going to figure out the best way to do a round on that. Not quite sure how we're going to do it yet, but we'll figure something out, and it should look lovely. See you shortly. So we had a bit of a thought and a think about how we're going to do this little angle on the worktop, and my original idea was just to cut it on the face edge and then just have a line in the veneer. Then realised that Wicks have actually full length edge banding. So what we've done is we've actually put the worktop in backwards. So this is actually the back of the worktop. And what I've done is I've cut the angle to a square, and then what I did is I adjusted my track so it just took the edge off. Then I've run my sander on that just to round it off, and now this edge banding will wrap nicely around that, and we'll edge band that whole length between me and Ricky, get that all edge banded, and then that'll be beautiful. Obviously I haven't got to edge band this end because this is where we're going to have the joint anyway, so I just need to work out where the joint's going to be, and then I can edge band up and through the whole length. So with a bit of contact adhesive, it should look absolutely spot on. See you in a bit. So we're going to put the edge banding on now. We're going to be using a contact adhesive, which is pretty standard for worktops. Glue both sides, and then literally make sure it's flush with the top, and then I'm going to use clamps just to hold it in place. Even though this stuff usually goes off really rapidly, especially in this heat, I've managed to get it on quick enough, but because it's so hot, the glue's staying soft, so we need to clamp it. That works really well. I've got to trim the excess up, but for now, it's got my clamp holding it, so my edge banding, get out the light, you see it just starts there. You see the gap, and it goes all the way along, so we've got clamping it there, and we've got a long clamp here, just holding it on that corner, another one there. But yeah, I think that way, having it just wrap around the corner rather than having a joint, it's going to look so much better. Just adjusted my clamps a little bit to maximise its contacts. So by rights, if I leave that now for a few hours, let it go off. This side's perfect. No, it's not coming unstuck or anything. There's a little bit of chip in there, but nothing I can't sort out with a bit of white colour fill. And then she'll look beautiful. And then we'll run the router with a flush cut bit along that afterwards, and she'll look absolutely perfect. Perfect. So that is how we've done that bend, and I think that is pretty much the best way to do it. Obviously I've still got to trim this back, so I've gone a bit into where I need it. I need to trim that back so I've got a clean edge to do my worktop joint, but that's perfect. It's come out better than I thought it would, so happy days. I'm really happy with that. Be nice to see that in situ when it's all dry. See you soon, guys. I'm not trying to be funny. I think the heat's beaten us. We've had the fan on in here. In here it's not been so bad, but working outside in this temperatures is just an absolute, we're melting, literally melting. But we haven't done badly considering it's 2 o'clock. I've got to pick up some minor materials that I need for the plasterer for the weekend. I'm missing an isolator valve for the outside tap. Got the non-return valve, so that's good. I might need to pick up a washing machine hose extension. 1.5 meters should suffice. I've got a waste extension in my workshop if I can get to it. It's now for the DJ gear, because obviously we've sold the DJ business. But this is where we are. So as you know, the drawer fronts are on. All the doors can go on pretty much, but we've had enough. So all the decor panels are on, all the flooring's done. We just got to run a silicone bead round once everything else is done. Obviously plastering's got to get done. Obviously we've done the bridging bits for the washing machine. All the plimps are in. Let's put a return. That's clamped and upside down while it glues the edge banding on. And the other worktop, as you can see, we're going to leave outside tonight because the weather's going to be nice. It's so hot, the glue's not going off. So we've put the 6 foot level on it, we've clamped it on all the bends. It's looking absolutely mint. And give that overnight and that'll be rock hard. Then tomorrow I'll get me flush cut router. We'll router that up, get it all flush. Router that up, get that all flush. Get it back in here, mark out the sinkhole, mark out the bolt holes. Get it in, get it sink in, get it all joined and sorted, get all the doors on, get the washing machine in. And then we're well ahead of the game. And then Monday the plaster is done, would have been done. So Monday we can then throw all the wall units up, finish them, and then that gives me Tuesday and Wednesday to tile and finish all the little bits and pieces off. Absolutely perfect. Nothing's going to get left out. So plenty of time. So that's good. But we just can't do it no more. We've been drinking water and Coke for sugar to try and keep our energy levels up, and both of us are feeling the heat. It might even be a little bit of heat stroke. So you got to do what you got to do in these temperatures. Luckily it's my business and I can call the shots. So, and I told Ricky, enough's enough, mate. It's just too hot. It's dangerous to work in this heat. So we will see you tomorrow, guys. So don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and get back to us tomorrow, and we'll get that worktop in and we'll see how she turns out. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.